Okay, so we're just going to come along here now and start to put in these lines that we've got on our picture. And on your main drawing here, you've got these lines on as well. So we're just going to start here, and this first line needs to go from this side up to there. So that's the actual angle that you want to be going at. So we need to make sure that we start it just here, okay, and we're going to start that by plunging it through the fabric. Okay, so I'm just going to take the two ends of the passing thread and I'm just going to poke those through that needle. Okay, now this is a slightly different way that we're going to be couching this down, and you'll see that shortly. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that through, just going to pull it back up again. Some of it went much further on, but not both of the pieces. So you need to make sure that you over sew that at the back. Okay, so we're going to start with our thread, and we're just going to hold that down a little bit there. Okay, I'm going to do our first stitch. So these are big crosses that we're doing. We're not doing your traditional couching like we've done here. We're doing big crosses over the top of our passing thread. Okay, so we've got one there, and we're using 2 strands of the cotton this time. Okay, and then we're going to do another big stitch just here. Okay, and that's just coming in slightly underneath. So that's our first stitch. Okay, now what we need to do then is we just need to set that so that it's at a nice angle, like we did with the K-Jap that we used to do all the borders, just holding that slightly in place so that we can actually do those nice straight stitches up on the passing thread. Okay, so we've got 2 stitches and then 1 at the top. So we want to get one about here, we want to get one about here, and then we've got that one right at the top. So they're quite spaced apart. Okay, so we're just going to do 1 big stitch here. Okay, make sure that you understand that when you're doing a stitch like this, that your stitch needs to be slightly further than you think it does. So I'm coming up here, okay, which looks further along than where that one was, and I'm going down, just going to pull that there. I'm not going down there, which is in line with that one, or looks like it's in line. I'm just going down slightly further, so you'll see why. So when it's actually pulled down to the surface, you can see there that it's in line there and it's in line there, but I actually came out slightly higher and slightly lower. Okay, right, so we're going to do our next stitch just here, and we're going slightly further out than our actual thread. So our thread's going there, and we're going to do our stitch just slightly further out so that it's just catching it in but not perfectly holding it down. This is a really big cross that we're doing, and then we're going to come up just on this side here. Okay, and again, we're not coming right up against the side there, we're just going to each side here, so we get a nice cross, and you can see that cross really easily. Okay, so then we're going to come up just here. Okay, now this one just needs to be almost like a V. It doesn't really want to be a cross, because of course this is where we've got our corner. Okay, so I'm just going to put 1 little stitch there like that at that angle. I'm going to bring this thread around. Okay, so let's just tighten that up. I'm just holding that tightly down, and then I'm going to put another stitch here almost coming up in the same place where I went with that first one, and I'm going to just put a stitch up just there. Okay, and that's that. So I'm going to bring that around just like that, okay, to make it a tighter stitch, and then we're going to go down. So this one's going down in line with the apex here, so we've got that center bit just coming down there, but it's also almost in line with that there. Okay, so that's where we're going to be aiming for next. Okay, so again we're going to do some big stitches, and these are almost where these ones are, so they're almost opposite where they are. Okay, so this is the angle that we're coming on at, and we're going to come just slightly away from that thread there. Okay, do a big stitch over at an angle, and then again we're going to come up on the other side, and we're going to do another big stitch over that thread. Okay, and that's just sandwiching it against our sheer fabric there like that. Okay, so we're doing another one just here now. So again we're coming up there like that, and over, and then we're going to come up here slightly further away from that passing thread, and then down just there. Okay, so that forms our nice little cross there. So then we come down to the V. Okay, so our V needs to be about here this time. Okay, or slightly further down, just about there. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little stitch over there for now, because we're going to put that cross in when we get that other piece on. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little stitch there for now, make sure that that lies flat, and this one is going to come down to here. Okay, so we've got that just there like that. Okay, so we do need another little cross just here. Okay, so I'm going to come up just there, I'm going to go over like that. Okay, and then again just over here like that, and down there. Okay, so then we need to plunge this here, so I'm going to chop this off just here, plunge it down there, and then we'll be starting our next line just up there. So let's trim that off. Okay, and then we can plunge it down through the fabric. Okay, and try and make sure that it's like a nice line. Okay, and we're going to take that down just there. Okay, and we need to just take those through our needle. So let's just take it that side and poke those through. Okay, poking them through individually, because it just makes it slightly easier when you've just got it already stitched down part way. Okay, so we're just going to gently take those down, and then we're just going to give that a little bit of a wiggle and pull that through. Now that's slightly twisted, so as we did on the top, just make sure you twist it at the back, and then that holds that perfectly in place. Okay, right, so there's our first bit. Okay, so our next bit is going to start just here. Okay, and we want to poke those two threads of the passing through our needle. Okay, so let's do that. And again, you need to make sure that you do secure those off at the back. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that back up a little bit, because that's gone too far again. Okay, and we're going to take that over this way. Just make sure that you don't get any of these twists. You don't want that on your thread. Okay, so we're going to come up with our needle just here this time. So we're doing a big cross just on this section. Okay, it's going to come over here like that, like that. Okay, and then we're going to come up just here, and we're going to go over there so that you can hardly see that little starting point. Okay, so you can't really see where that started. Okay, so the next one, again, we're going to have one just here and one just there. So I'm just going to lie these flat and make sure that they're not twisted before I start, and we're taking it up to that point just there. Okay, and we'll just carry on in that same way along our lines all the way along that area. So this one here is almost level with this one here. Okay, not quite, but almost. Okay, so we're just going to come down there, and then we're going to put our next one in, which again is a nice big cross, which just sandwiches that passing thread down to the fabric. Okay, like that, and then we're going to put another one in just here. Okay, so you're just going to carry that along, carry on doing that up and down until you've filled in that area there. Okay. just going to be finishing this off in the same way that we started. So we're just going to trim that there, and then we're going to plunge through that. Okay, and then take it down through to the back like that. Just make sure that it's not overlapping, not twisting. Okay, and then you just need to finish that off with your stitches. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this tight at the back for a moment whilst I do those stitches at the front, and then it can be over sewn at the back. Just like that. So we've got one stitch just there, and then we've got our second stitch just here. Again, you know, we are spacing those, they're not sandwiching it in perfectly, they are slightly either side of that thread. Okay, and then just holding it nicely down to the fabric, and then we just need to do a little cross just at this end just to hold that in place, and then that's done. And then we can start the next part, which is the inner apexes. Can't really call them arches because they are very pointy. Okay, so we're going to start our next ones just here. Okay, and again we just need to plunge that passing thread first. So we're going to start with this one either side, doesn't really matter. It's going to come up here, it's going to go in a little V there, and then it's going to stop there and then go down to here. Okay, so I prefer to work left to right. That's a personal preference, so you may want to work left to right, you might want to work right to left. That's entirely up to you. So it's whatever works best, and in this case it doesn't matter. Sometimes it does, other times it doesn't. So we're just going to poke that through there, and then again we're going to be doing it exactly the same way, but instead of finishing off at the bottom like that and then starting one up here, it will just be coming up to there, in a V up to there, down to there, and then you'll be plunging it here. Okay, and then we'll just carry on each of the next 4 in the same way. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. We'll be doing 4 of these.